Hello, hello, hello. This is Truth Be Told. This is Dr. Walter Aka.
And I'm Dr. Leroy Horton.
Yeah, and everybody that knows, or at least watched the last episode, knows that Dr. Horton is itching to speak some Spanish.
A little bit of a show off.
And make me look bad. And make me look bad.
Well, hola, Walt. ¿Cómo está?
Está bien. Está bien.
Muy bien.
Puedo ir al baño. A little something for my Spanish brothers and sisters out there.
Well, listen. Hoy vamos a hablar de por qué la gente va a México para el tratamiento dental. Okay, so we're going to talk about why people are flocking across the border to Mexico for dental treatment. And no, this is not going to be a bashing, they're going to get cheap, inadequate treatment. Absolutely not. It's going to be a real conversation. It's going to be positive, and we're going to talk about the real situations that are driving medical tourism.
Right. And we have to be honest and say, again, just like our last episodes and our last discussion talked about where things are going, we have to look and say, what are we doing right and wrong?
Right.
Why do people need to go across our borders to get dental work done? Why don't they have that opportunity here in the U.S.? And that's a discussion that we should honestly have.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being honest about our profession and criticizing our profession and also, promoting the best parts of our profession,
And I don't know if you remember, we did an episode, it was probably like last year, but talking about how important it is for us to realize what the customer wants.
That's it.
What they value.
That's it.
And if the customer's leaving, we have to listen to the why.
That's it. And well said. And that's another thing. So we're going to talk about all this, but I want to thank one of the listeners who basically sent this video to us and said, "Hey, I want you guys to look at this and then react to this." So without this listener, I wouldn't have known about this video. Right. So I think it's awesome. I really do, and I want everybody to do the same thing. If you see something, you can send it. If it's on TikTok, if it's on, I don't care where it is, just email it to us. Email it to us at real dentist with an S at gmail.com. That's REAL dentist with an S at gmail.com. We'll see it and we'll react or we'll respond back. And this is exactly why we're doing this video, because this video on YouTube was so great. We were like, we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
This is what's happening, so we have to talk about it. So yeah, man, let's just jump right into it and let's go. Let's talk about this and see what we think, right? So I think it's one of those things where we have to do a service to this video.
Absolutely.
Every year, U.S. visitors make 1.2 million trips across the Mexican border to this tiny border town so they can receive affordable health care.
Welcome to those Algodones, guys.
A lot of people live here in this town because of the dental terms. A lot of families eat about the dental terms that we have here.
More than 300 clinics are in a place around 7 square miles.
In Hawaii, it would have been easy up to $45,000.
Do you have dental insurance in the U.S.?
It is, but it's worthless.
What began with one dentist in one clinic more than 50 years ago grew into a series of interconnected industries, all either serving or surviving off of medical tourism.
Siempre tratamos de que el turista que viene aquí, darle un cálido recibimiento, que se sienta cómodo, que se sienta seguro, pues para que esto mismo no desaparezca.
But what does it mean when even middle-class residents of one of the world's wealthiest nations are forced to cross the border to receive health care?
Just try to live my life with my mouth closed and not smile.
And how impactful is the influx on Mexicans who live here?
What would happen if all of the dentists and doctors went away? What would happen to the townspeople and the locals?
You will die. You will die.
Okay.
That's it, man. That's it. And it's
wow.
Oh man. Yeah.
How do we start peeling the layers on this onion? Well,
I mean, what can you say? There's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, there's a problem when, and she even said it's not like it's just the the poor communities that are doing this. It's the middle class,
Right.
And that's what America prides itself on, is the middle class, right? That's a golden area. That's what we want to grow, the middle class. And if they're coming to the U.S. and this guy said, "Oh, don't you have dental insurance?" Oh, that's garbage.
Yeah.
So they're realizing it's garbage, and the lady from Hawaii, which I mean, honestly, from just looking at what's going on with the wildfires and everything, I'm definitely send prayers to that. Absolutely,
Yes,
I mean, Maui. I had the fortunes of going to Maui one time. Beautiful, beautiful,
Mhm.
beautiful island, man. Really beautiful. So I don't even want
That's
to
so
know.
sad.
It's so sad, man. But I mean, she even said it, 45,000, was it 40? She said $45,000 to do the work that she's going to do, and I'm
Right.
guessing that includes implants and crowns and all this stuff that she wants.
Right.
And later on, she'll talk about basically how much she had to save and how long she had to save.
Right.
Just to come down to this Mexican city to do what? To get the dental work that she could have easily done. So we have to look and say, are we the problem?
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Just so for our non-dental listeners, right? Let's say you have $1,500 worth of insurance coverage per year. For the entire year, that's what they'll give you.
Right.
Okay. And let's say you need one root canal and one crown. Let's say your root canal is, $1,200.
Was it done by the specialist or the general dentist?
Let's just say a specialist.
Okay.
So let's say that root canal is then $1,700, right?
Okay, we'll say 1,200 just so we can have a little bit of money.
Okay.
Right.
Then you get a crown at your general dentist.
Right.
Let's say it's another $1,200.
Mhm.
Okay. So you done spent $2,200, of which your insurance, even though it gives you $1,500 per year.
Yeah, 2,400. Yeah.
Yeah, on your 2,400. Sorry, math. Wasn't my strongest. So
Spanish is very good.
The Spanish was very.
Spanish is amazing.
Right. But the insurance will pay half of that.
Right.
In most insurances, that's 50%. So you get $1,200 covered.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You just used up 80% of your insurance.
That's it.
With one treatment series.
On one tooth.
Yeah, on one tooth.
Mm-hmm.
And we pass, as a nation, we act like that is considered coverage.
That's it.
I mean,
it's ridiculous. And then yeah. And in an ideal situation, you'd want to be able to cover everything. There are very few insurances that will cover 100% most of those things, right? The crowns and the root canals and so forth. But when you do find those, you're working for either a very good company or a company that has a union or something, right? It's not a lot of insurances will cover that. A lot of insurances, sometimes I tell my patients, if you don't have, crowns, or your mouth has been in good condition, or you're young and you just need, cleanings, probably better not to even get insurance.
Right.
It's probably better to just pay out of pocket for the cleanings twice a year.
Right.
Right. But the one thing is that, and then they'll say, oh, well, what if you need a crown all of a sudden? Yeah, you're going to be paying more for that crown.
Yeah.
But then maybe you didn't need that crown for 10, 15 years and you saved all that money.
Right.
I mean, insurance is not your friend. And everybody knows how I feel about insurance. I'm not going to get into that. And I think I remember Kyle, our old co-host, felt even worse about he hated insurance more than I did.
He would be triggered.
He would be triggered completely. What I mean? But yeah, I mean, that said it. And the one thing that I saw that was crazy was in a 7 square mile radius. It was 100?
300.
300 in a 7 square mile radius of doctors and dentists and so forth. And I'm like, there has to be a need. Yeah. No one's going to just keep building these offices if there's no need.
No.
There has to be a need.
And think about it. How many patients to be able to have a full service office for a year, right? Let's say you have 2,000 active patients.
Right.
To be successful over the year, right? Mm-hmm. Times 300.
Yeah.
How many Americans are in a position where they feel that that's the better option?
That's it. To
leave Texas or Arizona and cross the border to get dental treatment.
That's it.
I mean, that speaks volumes as to what our system has become.
And is that good? Is that bad? I don't know, right? I'm not going to speak to whether or not it's good or bad. I'm not here to talk bad about anything, but it's a lesson that we have to learn. It's a lesson that we have to see and go, okay, what's really happening in dentistry? What do we need to do better with? Because the demand is there. It's
Right.
not like the demand is not there. The demand is there. It's just a
Right.
matter of, are we meeting the demands? And that's probably why we have different forms of dentistry coming out, right? We talked about, what is it? What's the one group that was supposed to basically work in the rural parts of the US?
Oh, denturists.
Denturist, right?
Yeah.
They found, hey, most dentists, when they graduate, they want to be in the city. They don't want to
Right.
be in the rural parts of the Dakotas.
Right.
So there are people that will be there, and there are people that will pay, get paid by the government to go there.
Right.
But then those denturists and those other people will basically say, oh, well, what am I doing here? Let me go into the
Right.
city, and instead of a denture costing you, I don't know, $2,000, I'll charge you $1,000.
Right.
Now the patients are going to them.
Right.
And then you know what dentists, what we do? We sit there with our buddies and we complain. Right? Ah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Dentistry is going down there because
Right.
it's their fault.
Yeah.
But were you the one that went to the rural parts of the Dakotas? No, you don't want to do that, right?
Right.
But when they make a program that does that, and then they decide, hey, well, why would I stay here when I can go into the city and charge less?
Right.
Same thing happened with DSOs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dentist said, oh, I don't have time. I'm going to take off Fridays and so forth. And then somebody came into the dental field and said, wait a minute. Most dentists don't want to work on Fridays. Now, what if I open an office, hired a dentist, paid them a little bit more, and they worked on Fridays? Now we have access to care.
Yeah.
And now DSOs are taking over, and we're mad. We're still doing the same thing. How dare you, DSO?
Well, you know what the irony about that is?
Yeah.
A lot of dentists, and we know what the predominant makeup of dentists are, tend to be conservative, I've found, right?
Okay.
And when you talk to conservative people in general, they tend to be free marketeers. Oh, the free market and Adam Smith and all this stuff. Then someone accesses the free market to come in and undercut them.
Yep.
And it's all, we got to do something. We got to pass laws. We got to protect. And now, mind you, I'm not necessarily 100% on either way. I see arguments on both sides of being a protectionist and a free marketeer. But you can't expect one thing for other industries and not expect that it's going to touch yours too. And the free market is exactly what we're seeing at hand right now, which as a clinician, it's scary because it really means that our services are being corporatized.
That's it.
But we don't quite know yet if that's a bad or a good thing.
Right. And in this video, they're actually being exported.
Yeah.
They're being exported.
Yeah.
And so let's go ahead and check out the second part of this. I think I fast forwarded it and put it at a part where I think will be very interesting to talk to. And the guy that you see first is the originator, the OG, the one that actually came into, the one that created this area.
the Don Juan.
The Don Juan, the one that came in and said, you know what? People need to do dentistry here. So you're going to meet the OG, and I respect him because I think he came in and said, I'm going to just do what I need to do. And it just grew and it grew. And look at him now. Yeah. Look at me now, So let's go ahead and do this. And I think it'll be fun to see. It'll be fun.
Okay.
Las funciones. Los dientes inferiores tienen fosetas aquí, aquí, y aquí, y aquí.
Dr. Bernardo Magaña is the godfather of the dental industry in Los Algodones. But the nearly 83-year-old doesn't care about that, and he doesn't want you to either.
¿Sabes qué es lo que tenía el pueblo? 48 burdeles. Eran 48 para un lugar de 3,500 habitantes.
Dr. Magaña, who came here in 1968, is such a force in this town that he owns a lot of the land and buildings where the clinics reside.
Estoy enamorado de mi profesión. Hacemos maravillas ya últimamente con los implantes. Es la nueva modalidad de la odontología. Los pacientes que no tienen dientes y no se puede poner implantes, les hacemos cirugías y les reimplantamos hueso.
Dr. Magaña's impact on the dental workforce in Los Algodones is palpable.
Maricela, pues como te comenté ahorita, igual. Mi doctor de cabecera era el doctor Magaña. Pues del tiempo que yo fui niña, yo creo que con él me atendí varias veces como dolor, una resina, una amalgama. Él fue casi prácticamente el que le llevaba a todos los niños, los papás, y pues y nosotros también.
Nina Delgado Morieta is a Los Algodones native who's seen her small town evolve into an international healthcare destination.
Me parece muy bien porque le da otra imagen al pueblo, o sea, ya se ve más como una ciudad pequeña, no se ve ya como un pueblo. Y pues, pues cada año va creciendo la remodelación que le hacen al pueblo. Los pacientes que vienen aquí no son pacientes pues millonarios o ricos que se pueden atender en Estados Unidos, que esto, lo dental, es un tratamiento muy caro allá. Y ellos vienen aquí, pues, quizás a lo mejor a gastarse sus últimos ahorros, pero pues tratar de tener una muy bonita sonrisa y tener algo funcional con qué comer.
Los Algodones may be the self-described dental capital of the world, but it cannot be the solution for the millions in the US who are only one procedure away from financial disaster.
Yo sé bien que estoy afuera, pero el día en que yo me muera, sé que tendrás que llorar, llorar y llorar.
Dental care here isn't only out of
There's so much to unpack there.
Right. I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, really, you know, like we said, they came in with, I need something done.
Right.
Right. They came in with, I need something done, and this place provided that for me because they realized dentistry is just too expensive. I mean, are we wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. And the thing that touched me, you know, I get emotional sometimes, so it brought little emblems of tears to my eyes when you hear the Godfather talk. Not once did he mention business. Not once did he mention money.
That's it.
He said he was in love with the profession.
That's it.
And all he talked about was what he could do for other people. And here you go to conventions and there's always like at least half the main podium speakers are talking about how you can become the next, you know, Donald Trump and Mark Zuckerberg of dentistry and own 50 to 100 offices, whereas he was just in love with the profession.
That's it.
And that touched my heart to see that someone that was that influential in that area was 80 years old, still ranting and raving about what you can do within the profession for other people.
Right. And I'm gonna go on and actually share this part too, because I think this part is something that was really cool. And I'm gonna just share my screen here and basically talk about what I see here. And we'll just listen again, as always, right?
May not feel the need to compete with one another, but they are competing with their northern neighbors. Some of the most expensive dental procedures you can get in the US are more than 60% less in Mexico. There are a combination of reasons the prices are cheaper in Mexico. Mexican dentists make less money than their US counterparts. The government subsidizes their education, so they graduate with less debt. And Mexican dentists aren't required to have malpractice insurance like they are in the US. Every single US visitor I met said price was the #1 reason they came to Mexico. Dental issues are some of the most frequent conditions for which doctors treat medical tourists. Between 65 and 70% of all US outbound medical travel is for dentistry.
Being Kanaka-Maoli, Native Hawaiian, it's different because we're so isolated out there in Hawaii that our resources are limited. Everything gets shipped out to us. So the cost is inflated, extremely inflated.
Stephanie Monera has spent 40 of her 52 years without adequate dental care. She says where she's lived in Hawaii, dentists didn't even have the most modern equipment.
For the most part of my adult life, I've only been able to eat on this side. So for this side, if it was to go out, like if there was some kind of issue where I lost a tooth on this side, then it's a done deal. I won't be able to eat. So that's why I'm here.
Stephanie, like almost all of US visitors I met, does have dental insurance back home. It's just not enough to cover the work she needs. An estimated 74 million people in the US don't have dental insurance, which is separate from health insurance. Even Medicaid, the US's healthcare program for low-income people, doesn't guarantee dental coverage for people older than 21. Instead, states determine the type of dental care they provide, if any. And less than half of the 50 states offer comprehensive dental care.
I would have
I'm
to
gonna
pay
stop
out of
it here. I'm gonna
pocket.
stop it here.
And that's
I think we need to talk about this, man.
Yes.
I'm gonna stop it here. Man.
Well, let me ask you this, Walt,
Yeah,
because
please.
I want to hear your opinion. So the patient there was from Hawaii.
Mhm.
Hawaii brings in almost $3 billion a year in tourism revenue alone. Okay. $3 billion.
Okay.
And you have a native Hawaiian saying that most of the clinics that she had access to did not even have modern equipment.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Well, it depends, right? We were very, and all dentists do this.
Mhm.
When a patient says, "Oh, I went to another country to get my dental work done," oh, I wouldn't do that. Do they have the most recent technology? Do they have the most up to date technology? Do they know what they're doing? Da da da. But then we're not looking in the mirror and saying we have Hawaii, which is one of the 50 states, so
Mhm.
it's American. And this lady just basically said the same thing that we talk about or talk bad about when it comes to other countries.
Right.
So we might as well just include Hawaii if we're going to talk bad about everybody. We might as well just include Hawaii then.
Right.
We might as well include certain parts of the US.
Yeah.
Right? Because maybe some dentists don't want to invest in modern technology.
Or
because they don't
can't.
see or they can't. Right? And
Yeah.
and you know what's funny? Whenever they were going over the stats, I love the way they did this. The stats about, okay, why is it so much more expensive in the US versus Mexico?
Mhm.
What did they say? Debt,
Mhm.
right? The government in Mexico subsidizes for dental education.
Right.
Then they talked about malpractice insurance. We have to carry malpractice insurance. And I don't know about you, but the more procedures you do, the more expensive it gets.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, it's a penalty for being ambitious.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that was it, right? We have debt, we have malpractice, and then it's just, again, cost of living is expensive.
Mhm.
So a dentist gets out, owes $500,000 worth of debt, and then you're going to tell me, oh, they're going to, out of the kindness of their heart, they're going to do work for minute, what, 60% less?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's almost like your hands are tied because of the system that we're in.
Right.
The system we're in ties your hands. And so I truly don't blame dentists 100%. We
Right.
have faults, and I do believe that we are to be blamed for a lot. Greed is one of them.
Yes.
Greed is one, because I don't understand how one person can charge, let's just say root canal. One person is charging $2,000 for root canal. Another person is charging $800 for a root canal. If
Right.
they're both doing the same root canal and they're both doing it just as well, how do we explain the price difference to a
Right.
patient? If I go to one mechanic to get my tires replaced or fixed, and they say the same tire is going to cost you $1,400 here, and another one's going to cost you $400 here, and they're the same tire, why are you special?
Right.
What makes you $1,000 more?
Right.
We need to sometimes put ourselves in patients' shoes and say, what are we doing? But I also think the system is broken.
And that trying to figure out the root causes of the system is kind of a rabbit hole, right? Because the dentist, because yes, there's greed in dentistry, 100%. But then to defend dentists a little bit, because we have to be,
oh yeah, please,
be fair. Let's say your state passes a law that raises minimum wage,
okay.
right? Now your costs are more. let's say your state is doing a lot of innovative investing, and now, like what we saw in Washington, a lot of the tech companies from Northern California moved their headquarters to Washington. You had this huge influx of people, which drives up the markets. So now rents are more expensive, housing's more expensive. All the prices are going up because, again, we are in this free market, or somewhat of a free market economy. So how does a dentist say, I'm going to make as minimum as I can just for the patient's sake at my own risk and liability? Because at any point, my business can go under. And my patients that I've served over the years, they're not going to donate to a GoFundMe to bail me out. So just to play that end of the bargain, or to be on that end of the argument, what do you think about that?
No, you're absolutely correct. The system, like I said, is broken, right? Because this happens, then we have to respond. Right? It's amazing to me. I remember whenever we were coming out of COVID and eggs were expensive.
Yes.
Right. And the companies, the grocery stores were all like, yeah, supply and demand, supply for, we don't have the egg supply because of the bird flu and this and that and this. And we were okay with it.
Right.
We understood. Okay, it's going to be more expensive. Maybe I don't eat as much eggs as I used to.
Right.
But you can't do that in dentistry. You can't be like, oh, the supply, because I don't remember increasing my prices. Do you remember increasing your prices?
No.
I paid more for eggs, but I didn't increase my dental prices.
Right.
Right. And so it's amazing how patients are okay, and America is okay with accepting certain things.
Yeah.
But when it comes to dental and stuff, what you actually need, because without your teeth, you cannot eat the eggs.
Right.
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 So you need us.
Yeah.
Sorry, you need us. And so you have to kind of be fair on both ends. And I get it, right? We can show stats that show all this stuff. And, we have to play, like you said, I'm playing devil's advocate with you. And I'm glad that you bounced back and told me, kind of talked about the dental point of view. But you're right. In the end, we don't all just do things just for the sake of doing it. There are other factors that are associated with it. I bet you if we went to school for free, we could not justify the prices that we have now.
Oh, absolutely not.
Right. If we had, subsidized buildings, maybe like the government helped pay for our cost of being a dentist.
Right.
When it came to electricity, when it came to, the cost of that building that you have, the rent, the, equipment, we could not justify the cost of dentistry and how much we charge.
Right. But Walt, give people an idea. What's the average cost? Let's say you go to be a dentist.
Right.
You did undergrad 4 years.
Right.
What do you say is like an average total 4-year cost of undergrad?
It depends on what school you go to, but we'll say a normal school, you're probably looking at what, 30 to 50?
Okay, 50,000, right? That's your undergrad loans that you had to
undergrad.
Take out. Now you go to dental school.
Yep.
Okay. What's an average cost of dental school these days?
So average, if you're in the north, south is actually the cheapest. And I know this for sure because my wife told me.
Right.
She's like, oh, how much did you spend? Yeah, cut that in half. That's how much I spent. And I know this. So the south, if you're trying to go to dental school, come to the south. It's cheaper, right?
Yeah.
But you're probably averaging maybe 300,000. 300,000.
On the cheap end.
On the cheap end.
Okay. So now let's say you want to be
700 on the more expensive end.
And now let's say you want to be a specialist. Say you want to do ortho or perio.
So there's some schools that there's some residencies that you don't have to pay anything, but then, and they give you a little stipend, right? But that's very, very few. Most residents, I want to say, are adding on another $100,000 to $200,000.
So let's say cumulatively, an average, you graduate with about $500,000 to $600,000 worth of school debt.
On average,
so, depending on the programs, I know some orthodontists that are graduating almost $1 million worth of debt.
Yep. And if you want to, if you look up orthodontist in $1 million debt, it's on Dave Ramsey. He actually talked to one. So we're not making this up. This literally is somebody that called Dave Ramsey, who is a nationwide, financial guru guy, whatever. And he actually said that. Even Dave was like, what the heck? Is that how much
Right.
dentistry is costing nowadays? So
Yeah.
even he was shocked.
So I say that to put it in perspective as to why you may be paying, that much more, 60% more. There's so many things that go into what you charge.
That's it.
There's so many aspects of the debt that a dentist incurs, from school to your business loan, because we didn't even talk about that. Let's say you want to open your own business.
Right.
That's another, potentially $500,000 of
Easily.
debt that you're taking on.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, imagine how much more care we could provide at a reasonable cost if you just took the student debt out of that.
That's it.
Just that part.
That's it.
You know?
Yeah, and so that's another thing, again, and I love the way they did that. They compared it to and said, this is probably why it costs so much in the US. Just like why it's cost so much to buy medicine in the US. Pharmacies, not, they're not immune to this, right? What pill, if you can buy, I'll use, I don't know, give me a drug, amoxicillin. Right. In the US, you might spend $50 for a bottle for a few. Right. In Mexico, it might be $5.
Right.
Right. And the pharmacy or the pharmaceutical companies will say, well, you don't forget, we're the one taking the risk of, research and development, R&D.
Right.
And we basically, for every one successful drug, we may have hundreds that don't succeed, get to the final leg. And so that's why we have to recoup our money. And then they'll say, well, if the government did that, then maybe we don't charge as much.
Right.
Right. And so again, it's very complicated from their point of view too. Medicine's the same way.
Yeah.
Medicine, the doctors come with a lot of debt. It's expensive to maintain hospitals and keep up with regulations and so forth. Right. So there's a lot of expense in the US. Now, do I want to be in a system that allows us to go to school for free? Yes.
I'll sign up.
I'll sign up. But that also comes with a lot of prices, right? Like just like with anything, dealing with the government, you don't get anything for free. There's got to be some give or take, right? Maybe we don't put out enough dentists because the government's paying for it. They might say, hey, instead of 4,000 dentists graduating each year, maybe we just do 2,000.
Right.
So now if you want to see a dentist, you're waiting longer.
Right.
Right.
Which is interesting. I wonder, because obviously that town was built off of the medical tourism along the border that it's getting.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of areas, and I know that there's these areas because there's a lot of American mission trips to these areas, parts of Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, where our providers are going to provide free care for their population.
Right.
So this could be an issue of, this is just a free market phenomena, right? Because it's located in Mexico, but there was a lot of providers from other parts of South America.
That's it. Yeah.
Right. Or Central and South America. And so you're right. Even though it is subsidized by the government and thus they can charge less, is that also coming at the detriment of access to care for their own populations in other parts of that country?
Maybe. And so maybe these dentists are going to this part and getting paid more than they would in their country.
Right.
Right. And so they're leaving saying, hey, I am, maybe this dentist is an incredible dentist that does implants and so forth. Instead of staying in their country, they're going and they're doing the same thing that everybody does, which is let me go get paid more for what I do.
Right.
Maybe less in the US, but it's more than other countries where I came from, Venezuela, Ecuador, whatever it may be.
Right.
You see? So yeah, man. But I mean, I want to actually end this with another part of this video that basically had the middle-class gentleman that said that my insurance was useless. I want to show him getting his dental work done.
Okay.
I just thought it was a pretty nice little way to end this one because it was nice and it kind of speaks to what dentists can do.
Gotcha.
How much benefit dentists can have to a society. Right. So if you don't mind, let me entertain me for like a minute or two, okay?
Oh yeah.
Open a little bit. Okay. All the blue spots are the
It's where Charles Keene, a 60-year-old California resident, is inspecting the extensive dental work Dr. Paula Duque has done on him after years of pain and failing oral health.
I had in January effectively 28 teeth removed. I had 10 implants installed along with whatever grafting the doctor felt was appropriate.
How much did you pay here for all the work?
In 19,000 plus or minus.
How much did it cost you in San Jose?
55,000 plus or minus.
This desert town is an oasis of medical care for U.S. residents priced out at home, a home with the world's most expensive healthcare system.
Do you think you'll ever do any of your dental care in the US ever again?
I mean, I'm a veteran, I pay for veteran insurance, but it, you know, a dental crown after with insurance is like $800. Here's after insurance, my out of pocket. Here's $210.
Mexico is one of the top 10 countries for medical tourism.
The volume of the gum pushes up,
Okay.
but after they cement it, they will move.
Dental care is extremely important because going without it can lead to things like heart disease. Dr. Paola says this work is fundamental health care.
Teeth are part important of our body.
Yeah, man.
You know why I think that was important?
Please.
When someone says they can do something for cheaper, what's the first thing you think of?
Low quality.
Low quality.
Yeah.
They just demonstrated from everything I saw.
Right. And it looked good. It looked very
looked
good.
The treatment looked good.
Yes.
Their equipment looked like it was state of the art. There was
Right.
nothing about what I saw in that video that said low quality or cutting corners.
That's it.
At all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like that's probably one of the better looking dentures that I've seen. And he was able to talk and function. And in the end, that's all that patient cared about.
Exactly.
I have my smile back. To go from taking 28 teeth, he said, right? 28 teeth out,
Right.
and now has 10 implants and denture that he's happy with. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Right.
What more can you ask for? He got what he wanted at a fraction of the cost.
Mm-hmm.
Saved himself $36,000.
Right. And if you live in a border state,
why not?
It's not that far.
He can walk in.
Yeah, yeah. Like they showed the people in the video just walking across the border. You know, they leave the house, they walk across the border, and there you go.
And so you just eliminated. Remember how we talked about, I think one of the episodes we talked about, most patients don't want to travel too far to go to the dentist. When you live near the border, you just walk across. It's not that far.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, man, I think it's another one of those we have to kind of evaluate what's going on here. And I you said it best. There are a lot of other factors involved in this. It's complicated, but we can't pretend that people aren't doing it. I know for sure I think in one of the most, an episode or two episodes before, at the end of our, plea for people to send us, videos and questions and so forth, we showed a case where this gentleman went to Turkey.
Yeah.
And did you notice that Turkey was one of the top 10 medical tourists, right?
Right.
It's happening. I see a bunch of TikTok people that they send me a bunch of TikTok stuff that they talk about this.
Right.
I went to Turkey and I got my work done. So if you're in Europe, Turkey's not that far from you.
Right.
If you're in the US, Mexico's not that far from you.
It's not.
And you're getting 60% reduction. The guy he went from paying $800 to $210, he said.
Right.
Right? And if it's the same quality work, then what are we talking about?
So let me ask you all.
Yeah.
If you were to summarize what you think the ultimate vision for your life as a periodontist would be in just a sentence or two, what would that sound like in the context of what we just watched?
Okay. Let me put it this way. And I'm, I usually don't like to, I guess, boast about anything except for how good looking I am. But
you got those dimples, Walt. You got those dimples.
But no, I joke around, right? But coming up here, I'm actually going to give my services for free. I've seen a few patients that just cannot afford my work. They can't.
Right.
right? It's too expensive. Even with their insurance, it's just they can't. So, I am giving away free dental work for those patients.
Mhm.
Right? You could not tell me that I'm going to do less for those patients. I'm actually going to be eating the cost, but I'm okay with it because I've been blessed enough to have way more than I sometimes feel like I deserve.
Right.
I've been very blessed, so I can only do but so little but to give back. And even if it's once a year, twice a year, it's not taking too much away from my time.
Right.
Right. So in the end, I think if we as dentists decide to do this more, we could balance the equation out a little bit and say, hey, you know what? Maybe once a year, my clinic, my office is going to be open to take care of the community that can't afford to, come see me for certain things.
Right.
Or even if you said you only pay for the dental lab fees.
Right.
That's $210 for that $800 crown.
Yeah.
So then you don't lose out on anything but your time, but you're giving your time so that you look better, one, in the community,
Mhm.
and you look better for patients because patients are like, yeah, that dentist cares.
Yeah.
Now I've just given you guys, I've given you the magic bullet for marketing.
Right.
If you give a little, you get a lot.
You get a lot. Yeah. No, that's
So-
deep. And so to paraphrase it,
Please.
you've made a good living.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very blessed, man.
And you would like to be able to continue to make a good living. And mind you, I'm choosing my words carefully. I'm not saying that the goal is to be the richest dentist on the planet.
No.
You want to be able to take care, be here,
Yeah, take care of
and
my
help
family.
as many people as you can.
That's it. Take care of family and just help as many people as I can. Yeah. Mhm.
And I think that's the honest desire for a lot of people
Right.
going into healthcare.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, like we said, the system makes it so that you have to be often overly concerned with the financial aspect of practicing rather than just saying, hey, I'm just going to practice, I'm going to help people, and the money, the living will just be there because the system is built to allow for that.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. We applaud, Amazon. We applaud Walmart. We applaud all these companies from, every time they report, they make billions and billions of dollars, and we don't talk bad about them.
Right.
But if a dentist wants to make a living for his family because they gave up, and I think that the one video talked about how he gave up his 20s.
Yeah.
I give up my 20s.
Right.
We all gave up our 20s, Playboy. You know how many times I wanted to go to a party and I couldn't?
Right.
We all gave up our 20s, but in the end, we chose this.
Right.
Right. And so we have to be fair too, as patients, as people in the society. We have to be fair. We have to say that this person did give up and sacrifice a good amount of time to help us. So they should be paid accordingly. We are okay watching LeBron make $500 million for playing basketball. A game. But if a doctor wants to do well for his family, we criticize. So it's not fair, guys. And don't forget, that's it. Man, you about to get me on a tangent real quick. I'm going to go on a tangent real quick.
Let's go.
Lionel Messi, one of the best soccer players in the world. I'd say the best. And I'm not, I don't want to hate on Cristiano Ronaldo, but Messi's the best. I've never seen somebody do what he does with a soccer ball. Right. And I'm a huge soccer fan. Ready? He comes to the US, plays for MLS, Inter Miami. Okay. It's one of the worst teams in MLS, and MLS overall is horrible. No offense. Sorry. They suck. It's like watching a bunch of high school people play compared to European soccer. And he comes, and now everybody's watching. Yeah. My brothers actually got Apple TV so they can watch Messi play. And they're not even a big fan of soccer, right? Messi, the second he was announced that he was coming, tickets for MLS games went from $25 season tickets to $280. Ooh. Okay. The same MLS team that would make $78 million in a season made that in one game.
Wow.
No one said anything.
Right.
Now, if a dentist wants to raise their price from $800 to $850, $900. Oh my God. I'm leaving this dentist. How dare you? How dare you?
Listen.
Wait a minute, Messi's playing? I'm gonna go ahead and pay that extra
Yes.
$300.
Or a Beyonce concert.
Oh man,
I'll pay $800 for a ticket for Beyonce
What?
concert.
To be in the, what do they call those? The beehive?
The beehive. Yeah. Listen, if I had a penny for every time I heard a patient say, "Oh, I guess they're writing a check," and they're like, "Oh, I guess I'm paying for your yacht this month."
Right.
Let me just give patient or anyone listening that's a non-dentist a little perspective. Let's say you pay $1,000 for a crown.
Right.
Okay. I had to pay within, say, that hour and a half of time for the 2 appointments to prepare the crown and to deliver the crown when it comes back from the lab. I paid my assistants, general overhead of rent, front office staff. I paid for supplies, disposables. There's a lab fee involved. When you come back to deliver a crown, there's again that overhead and supplies and disposables. So let's say on that $1,000, my overhead is about $500 to $550.
You're actually being nice. The average,
I'm being nice.
The average is about 55 to 60%. So you're about 550 to 600. Yes.
Right. Now, of that money that's left, that's just the profit margin so far on that crown. On that, let's say 30 to 40%, I got to pay taxes. Haven't even included all my malpractice insurance, disability insurance.
That's it.
Professional development and, my licenses, my CE credits.
You have to pay to play.
You have to pay to play. So in general, my estimate would be for every $1,000 crown, what goes in our pockets, it's maybe like $90.
Yep.
Once you subtract everything, including taxes and all that. But they really think they're writing a check that you're just going to put the whole thing in your pocket and then go make your monthly payment on your yacht.
Oh my
and
yacht.
It's just, for most dentists, it's not like that.
That's it.
Yeah,
no, and that's it. I appreciate you actually breaking it down. And I hope the same thing we say every single time, man. We're trying to educate.
Right.
We don't take sides. Are we biased towards dentistry? Probably. Probably.
Yeah, maybe.
We're biased. We're biased, right? But can we see both sides? We try our best to. We try our best to see both sides. And that's exactly what we want to do. We want to see both sides. We want to appreciate, what's coming up. And we want to appreciate how our patients see us.
Right.
Right. And so we'll be honest and we will talk bad about ourselves. And we will try to, tell everybody what we see wrong with our profession. But we also have to be honest and say what we see good with our profession and what our issues with our profession is. Right. And it may not be us.
Yeah.
So that's great, man. Man, there's so many things to talk about. You and I, we always, I'll text you, you'll text me like, yo, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And so I want everybody to understand that we are really trying our best to keep it fresh, keep this podcast educational, but also fun.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that you enjoy and we keep giving you things, right? We want to make sure we educate you so that you guys can learn. In the end, we always say the same thing, man. We want you to challenge us so that we can, we can challenge each other so we can be better as dentists. That's all this is all about, man. We don't get paid to do any of this. This is all in our time. If anybody wants to pay me, please.
I'm not getting paid for this, Walt.
Oh God. Yeah, there it is.
I'm your co-host. I don't get a check.
Awkward. It's awkward. You're not getting anything. Yeah. Don't expect a check.
Well, I'm going to go to Mexico to do my next podcast then. Okay.
You should. I'll come with you. I'll come with you. If someone's going to pay us down there, I'm coming with you. But I definitely appreciate you as always, my man.
Same here, my dude.
Definitely appreciate everybody listening. And we always say the same thing. If you enjoy this, subscribe, just notifications, get that going and share it. Share with everybody.
Email us questions and videos. What's that email?
Email us questions and videos at real dentist with an S @gmail.com. That's real dentist, all one word with an S @gmail.com. Just send it to us. And I promise you, anything you guys see or hear in, just friends sending you stuff or you see it on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, send it to us and we'll look over it. We'll tell you what's legitimate and what's not.
Well, Keep it PG though, because I'm married. So
Yeah, man. Like, no,
Gotta
don't
be
send me. I
PG.
mean, I actually didn't think we had to say this. Notice we don't cuss on here. We
no.
don't do anything crazy.
Well, but listen, you're a handsome guy, Walt. We just want to make sure people know we're
not,
family men.
Yeah, don't send me anything
Okay?
weird.
No
Don't send me.
DMs.
Listen. This gray hair didn't come because I live a peaceful life. I just leave me out of it. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. This doesn't come because this is a peaceful life. You know, I don't go hang out and meditate all day. This comes with stress. You know, I don't need any more stress in my life. Just leave me alone. You know. But no, honestly, guys, thank you so much for listening. We definitely appreciate you guys. And again, if there's anything we can do to enlighten you and help you understand dentistry better, let us know. If you want to send us anything so we can break it down for you and tell you what to do, consider us your second opinion. We'll be happy to do that for you guys. All right. Thank you, boss. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon, brother. All right.
Sounds good.